Hi, everyone. It's Lydia with the Oneness Junkie podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to our guest today. We have Al Jameson. Hi, Al.
Hello, Lydia. How are you doing?
Good, good. Are you staying dry in this wet weather we're having?
Trying to, yeah.
Yeah, good. Me too. Me too. Well, hopefully, our Wi Fi will cooperate on this recording. So please, audience, bear with us. We're going to try to do this and not have any glitches. So anyway, for those of you who have heard the podcast before, the podcast is all about creating more compassion in the world. And I like to highlight people who are spending their time and talents to doing that, making the world a better place. So I asked Al if he would come on my podcast and talk about what he's doing and all the people that he's working with and having festivals with and the focus that that's all about. So before we get started, though, I do like to share with the audience whether I know my guest or don't know my guest. And in this case, I do kind of know my guest. I don't know him really well, but I met him a long time ago. So let me just share that back in 2006, I was networking for my local neighborhood and for small businesses. And Al was practicing his chiropractic practice, and he was Dr. Al Jameson. He still is. But at that time, he was more heavily involved in his practice. And so we were small business networking together. And that's where I met him the first time. And then we kind of lost touch because I wasn't doing that place closed down, the networking stopped, and I wasn't doing that anymore. And then recently, about a year ago, I ran into him at an event and I was like, oh, we reconnected. So we became Facebook friends, and now here he is today to be highlighted. So we're so excited to have you, Al. Would you mind sharing with the audience a little bit of background about introducing yourself so the audience can connect with you and kind of what led you up to what we're going to talk about today?
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Lydia. Yeah, we met all those so many years ago, and I still miss that market for sure. It was a very unique place. I Since then I was in chiropractic practice for quite a number of years, and my foray into this more kinder, gentler, more conscious world was yoga. That was my connection with everything. So I started yoga back in probably about 2010, and did it for years and years, and just it really held a special place for me, and it brought me to like an entirely new community of people, and ones that socialized differently. They just talked differently. They just interacted differently, and in all in great ways that I enjoyed, that really resonated with me. And so I was like, what could I do to give back? And so I had been doing events, large events, cultural events for years and years. And so I wanted to kind of marry that with the yoga world at the time, and co-founded a yoga festival in Houston with three of my good friends. And we did that for 3 years, leading up to COVID. And now I'm partnered with two other amazing human beings in Austin, and we started this Ecstatic Forest Festival that goes beyond just one type of movement of yoga, and really celebrates all types of physical movement, and with the goal of healing through dance, flow, and play. And so Ecstatic Forest Festival was born last year in April, and we're having our second annual festival this year, and we're really, really excited about it. And yeah, so that's kind of the gist of how everything came and evolved for me in this world. And so yeah, and then I basically help other people put on events through my unique mindful events platform.
Yeah, that's neat. I love that you have that. Do you do only physical events with the unique, with the mindful platform, or is it also online?
No, it's online as well. People can promote either type of event on there. It's the platform's a ticketing and event management platform. And then I also offer business coaching for people that are putting on mindful events and either want to do a career of putting on events or use events as a marketing tool for other things that they're doing.
I love that. So I just have to ask you, because I just asked her if she wanted to be on one of my podcasts. Do you know Sydney Strahan from Ecstatic Dance? She's an ecstatic
Yeah.
dancer. You know her? She's not
Yeah.
one of your business partners, is she?
No, but I met her years ago and I've been to a number of her ecstatic dances and she's amazing. She was in Houston for years and is in Austin now and she's a really amazing person. So yeah, I see her every once in a while.
Yeah, I just asked her this week if she wanted to be on a podcast. And so I was curious when you said Austin and Ecstatic, I was thinking, I wonder if y'all work together, but no, so she's doing her own thing. Yeah, I knew her when she was here in Houston, year 2006, like same time I met you, I met her. So anyway, I am so looking forward to the guest understanding what the Ecstatic Forest Festival is all about. So let's dive into that. And will you incorporate when you're sharing with us about it, like how you travel around the United States? Because you go to other festivals, right? Is that why you were doing that? Was to go to other? Okay, so I want to learn all about that too. So, how do you want to start? Do you want to just start diving dive in and asking, letting people know, like, what is the Ecstatic Forest Festival?
Yeah, let's so basically it's a 5-day camping event. It's going to be in Elgin, Texas this year, which is just outside of Austin near Bastrop on the east side. In these 5 days, basically 3 of them are full days of programming where we do workshops during the day. And so at each time slot, you have your choice of 4 workshops. You can either choose to do a dance shop, which the way we define that is individual movement. So basically, you're moving your body by yourself. So it could be a yoga class, it could be an individual dance or cultural dance or some sort of spiritual movement, anything where you're in your own space and doing your own thing. The second tent is our play shop tent. Our play shop tent allows you to play and interact with other people or play with flow arts and flow props and learn how to do those things. So that's our play shop tent. Is if you want to connect with either objects or other people, you can choose the play shop tent. If you don't want to move at all, we have options for you there. You can go to the think shop in that hour slot, and the think shop tent is where you get to kind of sit back, relax, learn something, or it might be a meditation or a presentation of some sort. And then if you're feeling crafty or hands-on or creative, you can go to our create shop tent and do a create shop where you get to make something. So it's either a physical handcraft or jewelry or something along those lines, or it could be something like poetry or music or writing or whatever the presenter is, the workshop facilitator is putting out. So each hour time slot, you have that, and the length of the workshops are 75 minutes, and there's 4 of those each day. So you can go up to 12 different workshops through the 3 days, and they all have a really cool balance and flow to them, and it's a kind of a choose your own adventure type of deal. And then to celebrate all of the stuff that you learned and all the new ways that you learned to move your body, we have ecstatic dance DJs at night. And so there's music basically every night until 2 in the morning. So, and then you're in this beautiful forest on the Colorado River. We have a lot of experiences for you to have in the forest. The rest of the team is developed these really, really amazing experiences for you to have in the forest. And so yeah, it's a lot of fun. And the best part, I think, is just community, people coming. And I was surprised by how many people told me that this was their first festival ever. That was really an honor, and it was also like kind of a shock that was the case. But I was so happy that we were able to create the space for everybody to come enjoy their first festival ever, and hopefully we gave them a good bar to set for any other festivals they attend. And yeah, so it was a beautiful, heartwarming space that was created, and yeah, we're just excited to share that with everyone again this April.
That's neat. I'm going to have some more digging deeper kind of questions. I like to be informative so that people feel like I'm asking the questions that they're thinking while they're listening to you talk. So first, I just want to mention that I'm just started yesterday taking a mushroom class about learning about all the benefits and the medicinal benefits of mushrooms. And the teacher was saying how valuable walking through a forest is. And I was thinking to myself, man, I live in a cement city. Where can I find a forest nearby?
There you go.
And just get the personal benefit. I don't have my notes in front of me, but he said something like the trees emit, I want to say something like a spores or something that actually like get into your respiratory system and enliven you and create vitality, like more than just walking around, where there's not a forest, So so there's a side benefit that, being in the forest can give you besides all the entertaining parts of what you're offering. So here's some just detailed questions. So when somebody buys their ticket, they basically are responsible for like bringing their own housing. So like their own tent, and I'm assuming like their own food, I guess, if they are particular, but I saw that you had like food trucks. Is that the only way y'all provide meals, or do y'all have community meals that somebody coordinates and organizes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're more of like a what you would describe as a true festival. So the two ends of it are either you're welcome to bring your own food and it's a camping experience, and you can do your own communal meals with like your campmates and friends around you. Or we offer food trucks that one we had last year was super popular, and we even had a meal plan. So there was quite a few people who chose that, and basically they pre-purchased the entire so breakfast, lunch, and dinner each day, plus like the 2 extra days, and they were able to just walk up and get their meals, and it was a beautiful plant-based menu at that food truck, and we're looking to add a second food truck this year. So you have the food truck options, you have you can bring your own food, and so those are the ways we do it. Communal kitchens are great. I've been to a number of events where there are communal kitchens, and I've cooked for communal kitchens, and they're wonderful when they work well, and they're disastrous when they don't. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, and you typically find the communal kitchens more in events that are would be classified as gatherings rather than festivals, which sounds like a small difference, but structurally they're very different. Gatherings can be even free for some of them, like Rainbow Gathering I went to last summer. It was a totally free event to attend, but the idea is that everybody then pitches in to create the experience. Versus a festival, you buy a ticket and the experience is created for you, at least the container is, and then you can choose how to swim in the ocean of that festival, and experience it however you want. But it's a little bit more of a curated experience with thousands of hours of prep that goes into it for you.
Yeah. Is the place where y'all, these are questions that I would have, but is the place that y'all set up your festival, is that like within some kind of a park system? I mean, are there actually restrooms and showers, or are you not showering for 5 days?
No, these are great questions, because the other thing that really surprises me is a lot of people, like, they may have gone to festivals, but even if it was like, maybe some people live in Austin and they've been to ACL, but it's not an overnight camping festival. You go and then you go home, or you go to a hotel and you go back the next day. So totally legit questions. No, we don't throw you to the wolves. there will be restrooms and showers on site. The property doesn't have anything built in, so we're renting all of this stuff and bringing it out there, like most festivals do. So there's restroom facilities, there's showers, there's the river, so you can choose the river. A lot of people do that. Yeah, and be a little more one with nature. And but yeah, like it's you rough it a little bit, but it's also not it's a festival camping experience, which is a little bit different than a just a wilderness camping experience. So the other thing I would note is, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll ask it after you finish.
Yeah, I was going to say the other thing I would note, and an upgrade that we have this year is all of our camping is what's described as car-side camping. And what that means is in most festivals, or even in our festival last year, you had to park in like a far off parking lot and literally lug in all of your camping gear to, and it could be like even a quarter mile or half mile away. And you had to like just literally walk in with all this stuff or figure out how to get it to where you're setting up camp. But the way we're setting it up this year, everyone gets to wherever you park, you can set up your tent like right next to it or very nearby. So it's a huge upgrade in the way we're setting things up. And so that's a big convenience that you either have to pay a much more upgraded experience for in other festivals, or it just doesn't exist depending on the place it is or the setup.
No, I love that, because like somebody like me, I always, when I go camping, I am so over prepared. I have everything, including one time we went camping and I had my friends go, man, I wish we had a broom and a dustpan. And I'm like, I got it. And I brought a broom and a dustpan to clean out the tent before you roll it back up for the next time, So someone having their car right next to their tent allows you to just kind of keep everything in your car, and then you can sleep in your tent at night. I mean, that's a wonderful offer, I think, for an experience like this. Well, the last question around the logistics and lodging that I have is, you mentioned that some festivals allow you to go back and go stay in a hotel. I mean, is that an option for people? Is there a hotel near Elgin that you could actually have a bed and then come every morning to the festival and do it?
Yeah, absolutely. The nearest town is Bastrop, which is about 10 minutes away. And there's tons of hotel options there. And yeah, I mean, it's literally 10 minutes, so you can do that. Or if you're not from the Austin area and you want to stay in Austin and have a little bit of an Austin experience, either before or after the festival, then you can do Austin as well. And that's about probably 25 minutes away or so. Depending on what part of Austin you're going to, might be like 30, 40 minutes. So that's another option if you want to, you're willing to drive a little bit further. I would imagine people that live in Austin might just drive back home each night. But the other thing that surprised me is we had about 95% of our attendees that stayed on site, during the festival. So there wasn't actually a lot of people that did the in and out. But yes, you can if you want to. That's definitely an option. But we do encourage everyone to camp. It's part of what makes it special is the community that's built between the things, So when you're not doing a workshop, when you're, or you just got finished with one and you turn over to a neighbor and you're like, wow, what was that thing we just experienced? Let's sit and process that for a little bit, and you really like connect with somebody. And that's where the magic really happens. Last year I had people tell me they literally knew no one, and because of the way we set up the camping, they met like 7 or 8 people. They all became really close friends. 2 of them fell in love with each other. I mean, it was like an amazing, experience for people. So, I would encourage everyone to do the camping for the community aspect of it, because it's not remote camping where you're out and isolated in the wilderness. It's like a tent village is what it is, and so you get to meet a lot of people. and you're not isolated, you're not alone. It's not scary because of that. You're with a bunch of people, and yeah, so that's how it's also, if you've never been camping, or maybe you've only camped like with, parents and as a kid or something like that, then it's a little different than that.
Awesome. So here's a question. Are you having it at the same time of year as the one you had last year? And what was the weather like? Like, what were the temperatures, waking up and evening, and like, do people need coats? Like, what kind of environment is it?
Well, it's Texas in the spring, so roll the dice. But April, we chose April
Exactly.
because, yeah, usually the last like little nip of cold is already gone by mid-April. So last year the high, the lows were in the 60s, which meant that it was nice and sunny
Perfect.
and warm without it being, Texas heat and humidity like yet, and in the evenings were cool enough where you could sleep and be comfortable. It wasn't warm and sweaty and, muggy when you're trying to sleep. And it also wasn't too cold where you feel like you have to put 50 layers on to fall asleep either. So,
Yeah, that's the perfect
yeah,
time of year.
honestly, the bigger thing in April is to contend with is rain in Central Texas, especially. So, and we've got everything planned for rain or shine. So, all of the tents and experiences and everything are rain or shine, and I would recommend, if anyone is camping, to make sure that they get a decent tent that will actually keep the rain out. That's another thing that can really ruin an experience, is if you get a more of a play tent, or just like a tent that's designed to, make shade, and it doesn't, do the job
A
of,
teepee with a hole in the middle.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, it's worth researching, and these days you can find inexpensive tents that do the job. You just make sure know what you're doing.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. So next question is, you have vendors. I think you have like little festival vendors on the property, right? Tell me about that,
Yeah.
and tell the guests about the kinds of things that they can experience just in the off, workshop times.
Sure. So the vendor village is uh, designed to offer you like this awesome like assortment of like eclectic things that you may not find in stores. You get access to a lot of handcrafts and jewelry and vintage clothing, and festival wear. There's a lot of and then we encourage people to light up at night, at the festival. So there's some of the vendors will have like LED stuff, and
Glow
we're
sticks.
yeah, and so we're still amassing vendors over the next like month or so. So, stay tuned for even more fun announcements with like the types of vendors. But yeah, there'll be a lot of interesting things that you can pick up that you might not see at your store around the corner on a regular basis, for sure.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of our vendors create experiences to where like they'll have like a loungy atmosphere, and so you can go and kind of hang out with them in their tent, and some of them are going to have little mini shops that they do, little mini workshops in the vendor village, where they're going to kind of talk about whatever their products or services are, and educate people a little bit on what they do. So all of that is engagement, get people involved and connected. So yeah. That's the vendor experience. The forest is also a bunch of experience areas. We're going to have what we call a hammock valley. So we're going to seed this area of trees right next to the river with hammocks, and then everybody else is encouraged to come hang their own hammocks if they want. And then that could be a place for you to lounge during the day, because our tents are, there's going to be certain zones for setting up your tent near where the parking and everything is. So this way, if you want to kind of nap, in the fun areas by the river, you'll have a place to do it. So, and then we have an area called the Psychedelic Speakeasy that's going to be lit up and super colorful, and one of those after dark experiences. It'll be a nice little lounge to go hang out in. And then this year's theme is Summer of Love. So we're going to have a flower power lounge, so you'll be able to do that. And I did want to emphasize this. It's something I'm really, really proud of. My two co-founders are female. 60 to 65% of our workshop presenters are female. 3 of our summit DJs are female, and probably 60 to 70% of our volunteers and ambassadors and everybody else that is involved in this are female. So you're seeing a male in front of you right now, but this is very much a female-led project. It has a lot of divine feminine energy woven into it, and we're creating a very, very strong and safe space for the divine feminine. So I know that that's a topic of concern for most women attending festivals. And just know that if you come here, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you have a safe and comfortable experience on our end.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. And balance is definitely important too, though, right? So you guys come on out, come to the festival as well, right? So
yeah, no, absolutely. It's a space for everybody, but I just, guys are typically they don't have to think about certain things, and there's a certain privilege associated with that. So
yeah,
I just wanted to
understand what you were saying. You wanted to put some reassurance for the women that it's a safe place to be staying for 5 nights or whatever. No, I get it. I understand too. There was a question I had. Oh, okay. So, I wanted to just mention, so while he was talking about vendors, if anyone listening is thinking like, hey, I want to go and I want to be a vendor, then just use the link below and let Al know that you learned about this opportunity through the Oneness podcast. And so vendors hearing this, reach out to him and see if you can set up a vendor. And then you also have like a sponsorship opportunity. Do you want to talk about that in case anyone listening wants to be a sponsor?
Sure. We offer different tiers of sponsorships for like you can, a main stage sponsor, workshop tent sponsor, and then a sponsor for each of the experience areas. And some of them are still available. We already have a main stage sponsor, and a couple of our experience areas are already basically claimed. So, but there are opportunities, and basically you get a ticket package with those in addition to your brand recognition at those areas. So like, for instance, if you're sponsoring one of the workshop areas, you would get to put up a banner outside of that workshop area and be recognized there. And same for any of the other experience areas. We would, put your banner or whatever you bring, sign or banner, feather flag or whatever, in those experience areas, and kind of highlight you and promote you there. And all of our sponsor and vendor stuff is a partnership. It goes beyond the festival. So we also give perks like I do interviews like this with sponsors and vendors and on all of our presenters, and so that they have that to share with people. And we also promote what they're doing in our community group on Facebook and in other places. And so there's opportunities for them to connect with our entire community, not just at the festival. So we really look at this as like a longer term partnership, and I'm trying to get everybody to really see it as like a year-long thing. And so we're going to have like a kind of this like fiscal year cutoff, like in the middle of summer. Yeah, and then whoever jumps on for the next year, we're promoting them throughout the entire year leading up to the festival. So it's not just at the festival. So yeah, that's how we do our sponsor and vendor stuff. And the vendors get the best spots because they'll also be able to park by their vendor booths and set up their tents by their vendor booths. And that's literally
next to their stuff.
Yeah, and they'll be right in the middle of the action. That's another upgrade from last year. We, some of our vendors, or all of our vendors, we had them park outside of the area where everything was happening. So, we upgraded that experience this year too. So it's
You're
you
making
know,
it easy for people, which is
yeah,
really convenience is a big value, right? To want to
yeah, absolutely.
participate.
Yeah, we want to
Yeah.
make it as easy as possible, and yeah, it's a great experience, and and if anyone's familiar with the ecstatic dance DJs and musicians in this, that sphere, like we have one of the biggest names in that area. Mose is headlining our event this year, and we have two other, really like internationally renowned DJs, Swahe and Naughty Princess, are coming to perform, and then we're highlighting and promoting a lot of our local talent as well. So we have three amazing DJs from Austin performing, or from Texas in general. Honest is up in Dallas, and then we have Amino and Infinite Error from Austin. And then a good friend of mine, Rain Drip, is coming from Colorado and is performing, and she's based out of Colorado. So yeah, we have an amazing lineup for everyone this year. We're gonna have a great stage production and sound and light show throughout the week as well. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Are there any neighbors around, or are you gonna? Is the closest neighbor far away from the
So we're
festival?
on the Colorado River, and this is a 150-acre property. So
Oh,
there are neighbors, but everyone's kind of, scattered a little bit. So, but we're mindful of neighbors, and we point speakers in the right direction, and things like that. And some music, like straight up music festivals, go all night, and they'll go till like 4, 5, 6 in the morning. We're not a music festival. We do have good music, but this is a transformational festival. Our music ends at 2 a.m., and it's a nice hybrid of music, good music to dance to with positive lyrics, affirmations, and then content that where you can learn and grow and blossom as a human being during the day. So that's where we kind of have positioned ourselves. And the other thing I would say is we've really set this thing up where it's very newbie friendly. So if someone hasn't experienced out of box, like kind of spiritual community or hippie community or yoga-ish community or something like that, and you're kind of in that space and you want to invite a friend to come with you, they're going to feel comfortable here. It's kind of like we're positioning ourselves as the festival where your friends that have never experienced this are going to come and feel comfortable and have fun, and it's not going to be a huge like culture shock to them, and they'll probably want to jump in by the second day and do all the fun things, and get some fun festival clothes, and jump into the culture that way. So yeah, it's really
nice.
accessible from that standpoint.
Some glow sticks, but they're buying the glow sticks and they're covered with them at night.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. So if you just have a friend who likes camping, bring them along. They'll get along. They'll figure it out. It'll be fun.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
awesome. So, in wrapping up, we can have an opportunity to just say some kind of final words. I want to mention the reason that, if I didn't mention it before, on the Oneness Junkie podcast, I'm focused on, I say, when we heal ourselves, we heal the world, and compassion starts with you and me. And so it's our own individual responsibility to help spread compassion. And I can't do it around the globe by myself. I need everyone to participate and want it for themselves and the world as well. And so that's why I love what your festival's about, because it really is, like you were just saying, it's not a music festival. It's like we're here to actually get some transformation as a benefit.
Mhm.
And so the workshops and the interactions and the connections and the body movement and the body, mind, and soul kind of focus is all part of our wholeness and our oneness, actually. And that's what I loved about what you're doing. And so I'm really glad to be able to highlight you on the Oneness Junkie podcast. So do you have anything that you want to, maybe that I didn't ask, or that you want to share, in wrapping up, so that the audience can get on your link below and see more about your festival and look at the dates and everything?
Oh man, yeah, there's so much we could still talk about and get to, but I would encourage everyone to check out the Ecstatic Forest Festival website. We're updating it with the newest information pretty much every week. So all your questions will be answered there. All of our links to social media are on there. You can enter to win a ticket on there. So there's a link to enter to win a ticket, and then there's different ways you can get more entries to increase your chances. So
like sharing it.
Yeah, like sharing it, or social media, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, there's we're just we would appreciate any kind of support in spreading the word. If this resonates with you, reach out to us. We're very accessible. That's the other thing. We communicate with everyone on our social media, or anyone that reaches out to us through the website or ticket link or any of that. We're very accessible. We're here to answer your questions and make sure that you feel as comfortable as possible in making a decision to come to this, and we hope you do. And yeah, we didn't even get to the travel stuff, or
actually
all of that. Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to ask you, because I forgot. I was just thinking about that while you were talking, and I was going to say, as a PS, I want you to tell us about your van life. Was it this past summer? When did you leave?
Yeah.
And when did you come back? And what did you do in between? So take the next 6 minutes and describe that experience.
So I 2 years ago during COVID, I was sitting at home, and it was supposed to be my year of Europe travel or abroad travel. And of course that didn't happen. And about midsummer, I ran out of things to watch on television. and so I started going down the YouTube rabbit hole, and started kind of reconnecting with all these things that I was interested in life. And then it just really went down that rabbit hole. And then I was like, you know what? This is the best way to travel right now. So I bought a van, an RV van that was already outfitted the way I loved, and it was a perfect deal. And so I bought it, and I took off for 2 months in 2020 and did a little tour of the Southwest. And this past summer, I did 4 months on the road. And I went literally the entire west of the United States, except for Utah. I literally went around Utah. So I went to Utah last time, but this time it was pretty much everything around it. So I spent about 6 weeks in and around Colorado, and with a lot of festivals back to back. This past year in total, I went to 12 transformational/music festivals, including things like Burning Man and Unison Fest and Sonic Bloom and the Rainbow Gathering, like the big 50th anniversary hippie gathering. So it was just a beautiful experience. And then there was a 6-week gap between the last festival in Colorado and Burning Man. And so I did a tour of the Pacific Northwest, and I went to all of the national parks in the Pacific Northwest, and 12 national parks in total on this trip. So I did, and my goal was to do at least one hike at each one. Tons of amazing pictures, and a lot of that is on my personal Instagram. And I'm not huge on social media, but I did post some, and more to come. A lot of it is still backlogged, and I need to post. But it was a very kind of spiritual and cathartic experience, between meeting so many new people. When I'm kind of an introvert, and meeting new people is I love it, but it's very out of the box for me. So it was a really good experience to do that, and then having the downtime in between with a lot of the hikes and the solitude, and just being connected with nature, and being able to do that as well. And it was just a beautiful summer for 4 months, traveling and spreading the word about our festival, and learning about what other people do at theirs, and connecting with everybody out in the transformational festival world out there. So yeah, it was really cool. So I'm happy. I'm always happy to answer any questions about van lifing and that experience as well, or traveling to festivals or traveling to national parks. In fact, I'm probably going to put together a 3-part series of workshops on that exactly. So stay tuned for that. That's coming. That's in the works.
That's neat. I love that. Now, is your van still, are you going to use it like to go to these, to stay in your festival, situation, or did you sell it, or do you still have it?
No, I still have it. In fact, I was just up in Dallas this past weekend, and I was in the van, and it's nice. I always have my own place to stay, and yeah, and it'll be at the festival if people can come visit.
Come see it. Come see your house
Yeah,
on wheels.
she's her name is Serenity, so you can come visit Serenity, and yeah, she needs a little facelift. The paint's chipping, and but she's faithful and does the job, and everything is laid out the way that I would want it to be, and it's super comfortable, and yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
it's been amazing to be able to do that, and it's just in this process of trying to create a little bit more like location independence for myself. And I know a lot of people are looking to do that, or wanting to do that. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. Whatever happens, happens. I'll figure it out while I'm on the road. And there's a lot of lessons learned that I'm willing to share with people that are wanting to try to make this happen. But it is possible, especially with internet connections and remote jobs and stuff like
Cell
that these
phones.
days. Yeah,
Yes, I know.
it's all possible. It's more possible. It's ironic that the technology is actually enabling us to have this return to a simpler life in nature, and freedom, and not feeling like we're shackled to a 9 to 5, so to speak. So yeah, that's something else that I'm really passionate about, and I think it fits well with what we're promoting at these transformational festivals. So it's been fun. It's definitely been an adventure the last couple of years, and yeah. So you can check out my personal Instagram for some of those travel photos and videos,
Yeah, why don't
and
you tell everybody how they can find you? Like, tell them your,
Mhm.
the Ecstatic one, like you're at, and then the Jameson
Sure.
one. Okay.
So my personal one is at Al Jameson DC, for Doctor of Chiropractic, and then the Ecstatic Forest one is at Ecstatic Forest TX, since we're in Texas. And then the website, my Unique Mindful Events website, is just at Unique Mindful Events, and that is if you're interested in other events happening in Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas. I have an email list that you can join, and you can always go to the website and see the calendar of events there. And also really focusing that on anybody that wants support in and coaching in putting on mindful events in the community. Even if you want to hold a circle in your local community, or a cacao ceremony, or a yoga experience, or a meditation, or anything like support in how to price your tickets, how to figure out locations, how to figure out if this is even financially makes sense, or how should I describe myself, or all of those things. Those are the things that we're going to start doing some weekly group Zoom meeting style coaching around with all of the event organizers, which then forms a mastermind community of people putting on events. And then that's how we're going to grow the community calendars through all of these people that are going to basically hold themselves accountable by being part of this, and learning to basically increase the quality of their events, the content of their events, and the quality of their presence in community. And when you do that and you show up like that, then it makes what you're doing more sustainable, which is the number one problem I've seen in this community, is lack of sustainability of all of the beautiful energy that's put into it. people will try something, they have beautiful ideas, they have beautiful gifts to share with the world, and they just don't know how to make that sustainable from a financial sense, a sense of
They don't know how to
supporting
monetize
themselves.
it. Monetize it.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of seen as this like ugly word, when you're trying to like do things to like help people out. And then like there's this sense of guilt for wanting to get paid for that. But at the end of the day, if it's not financially sustainable for you, then you stop doing it at some point. Or you have to have something to financially sustain you somewhere else so you can keep doing it, and that's okay too. Like that's a passion project, and I can help people with that, independent of the financial side of it, just to make sure that the content they're delivering is consistent and high quality, and what they put out there is how they want to show the world who they are. So that's what we're going to be doing with the mindful event coaching. And so yeah, that's at Unique Mindful Events. That's all on Instagram, and then all the websites are pretty much the same. So, and we'll have a link in for Ecstatic Forest, and maybe for these other ones as well. So,
and you're singing to the choir here, because I have 3 podcasts and they're all passions of mine: oneness, wellness, and travel. And they're all passion projects right now. Nothing's really, making my living. And also I've been doing events since probably 2000. So, we're right there in alignment with each other as far as, having walked very similar paths, but in different, dimensions or something.
Yeah. No, it's amazing how much congruency there is when you're in this community, and like you start talking to people and you're like, wow, like we're all really like starting to feel the same energy and starting to resonate on the same levels, and seeing the same things, seeing the same problems that need to be solved, and it's going to take that. There's no one person that can do all of this, so it's really cool that this whole thing is growing, and people are seeing these things. So that actually makes me excited.
I know. And my background's in marketing and sales, and communication was my degree in college. And so like this is natural for me. So I love like highlighting what people are doing to spend their time and their talents to make the world a better place. And that's why Ecstatic Forest Festival is being highlighted here, because that's exactly what you're doing. We're all trying to push the energies to a more loving, compassionate, and kind world, and we're just all doing our part to make that happen. So I love what you're up to. I'm so glad that you wanted to come and talk about what you're up to and what you've been doing. And I'm sure that there'll be other opportunities for us to, talk about maybe some of your, I want to invite you, like some of your sponsors or some of your vendors who you think are a fit for the Oneness Junkie podcast. I'm happy for you to incorporate some highlight interviews as part of what they can get, because I love sharing the message of what people are doing to make the world a better place. So you and I can work together and figure out if there's a fit, and I'll just interview them and we'll share what they're doing with the rest of the world. I've had people from Poland listening to my podcast. So this is definitely a global, podcast and a global focus. So it's not just local.
Amazing.
For sure.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I definitely would love to collaborate more and put more people in touch with you for sure.
Yeah, that would be great. I love it. I love that. So thank you so much, Al. I appreciate you. Namaste.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, audience, for listening. I know we just kind of kept going, but this was fun. Like hopefully you guys found it somewhat interesting. And please, any questions you have, please just reach out.
Yeah, please do that. Okay. You have a wonderful day, and we hope to see all of our guests back for the next episode of the Oneness Junkie podcast. Bye.